Guys, that right there is magnificent. Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're going to be making brown beer. Now, this is a fantastic recipe that I developed about 4 years ago, and you are going to be very, very surprised at just how good it really tastes. So I'll tell you what, let's get in the kitchen and get busy cooking up this most delicious brown beer. Come on guys, let's go. All right guys, we got all of our goodies sitting out over here. Now, we're gonna be making us this wonderful brown beer. But let me explain some of the things that I would like to help you to understand that was going through my mind when I created this recipe. First of all, beers that I like. I don't like beers that are really strong or bitter, okay? Beer to me, a lot of store-bought beers are really, really boring. And I think that a lot of the manufacturers are just sort of missing the mark on it. I want a strong, robust barley flavor. I want it to be somewhat toasted so it gives me a cracker-like flavor. I want it to have a smooth, clean taste in my mouth. Okay? I want a beer that finishes clean, that doesn't leave me with a bad aftertaste. I don't want the hops to be overwhelming, but I want them to be present and strong. You should be able to taste it immediately. You shouldn't have to wonder what kind of hops were used in this. You should just taste it and know it. Now guys, in the event that you're taking notes on how much of each, let me give you the entire recipe. This is 2 pounds of 6-row malt. Now this one over here and the rest of these are brand specific. Paul's Mild Malt, okay, and that's their #1 mild malt. This one here is another base malt, very good. You're going to want 1 pound of that. So 2 pounds of this base, 6-row, 1 pound of this base, and over here I have this wire Cara Munich. Now this is the one that gives you that nutty, full-bodied flavor. This really adds a lot of that brown flavor to this brown beer. 1 pound of it, and then 1 pound of the Carapils for the fabulous mouthfeel that it's going to give us. 1 ounce of that Hallertauer hops, 1/2 ounce of the Fugels. You're going to need 1 ounce of the Tettnanger. Now the Tettnanger is going to be used in 1/2 ounce increments, 1 for the finishing hops and 1 for flavor. Over here, Nottingham yeast, all right, and this is the Lallemand brand, Nottingham yeast. So there you have it guys, we're gonna get on with this. And one last thing I want to mention, let me open the lid. Oh yes. Also, in addition to all the sugar we're gonna make with that grain, we have 6 pounds of that amber malt extract. Oh guys, this is perfect for a brown beer like this. Let's get some water in our pot and get started brewing this. Guys, we're going to need about 2 to 2.5 gallons of water in a large pot. Now I'm using a very large pot that you can actually do full conversion brewing in. This is a smaller version of brew in the bag, and this is where you learn your conversion methods, guys. So we got to take this, get about 2.5 gallons of water in here and bring it up to 130 degrees, okay? Now guys, I have 2.5 gallons of water back here in my pot. The next thing, I'm also going to need some way of judging what the temperature is in that pot. So I have here my handy dandy thermometer. Now this is a thermometer that's designed for lower temperatures. You don't want a thermometer that's designed for oven use or something like this. So this one goes up to about 220 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. and down to about 0 on both of those scales. In the meantime, all of these malts I'm going to want in a bag. I'm going to take all of these grains and now pour them right down into here. Our grains are captive. Now here at the top, I can take this and tie it. Now I'm going to take this and dechaff it. After that, we're going to put it down into our warm water at 130 degrees. Okay folks, now something I wanted to show you. Normally I do this outdoors because the wind will help blow away some of the extra mess. But what I'm removing here is a lot of what I don't want down in that beer. And I'm getting out a lot of that chaff. And what I lose in this process is insignificant compared to how well it smooths that beer up. Alright, now here my water is actually at just a little bit under 140 degrees Fahrenheit, guys. And in other words, that would be right about, let me see, I'm going to try to get a reading on that other scale there. About 56 degrees, 57 degrees, somewhere in there. So, our bag is going to go on in. Now what I want to do is I put this in. You don't want to get any lumpy, doughy balls going on. So just get in there and work it around. Now what's going on here, we call this a protein break. And what it does is it allows the proteins to be broken down in the malt. And we want to do that because it actually provides for better mouth feel and better head retention and a lot of other stuff. So right now what we're doing is improving the quality of our beer overall. At the exact same time, I'm also waking up my enzyme. I'm saying, hey guys, look, we got some food for you. Dinner's ready. Come at it. So those enzymes are being activated. Do the grains have as much freedom as they would have if I just poured them right into this open pot of water? Well, of course not. However, I don't have to do any filtering. All I have to do is just pull this bag out and all my grains are removed later on. Okay guys, I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. We're going to give that its 30-minute protein break, and then we're going to bring the temperature up. Now when I bring that temperature up, our next level is going to be 66 degrees Celsius, and we're going to hold it right there for 40 minutes. Now so you'll know, 66 degrees Celsius, that is right at about 150 degrees, okay? So that's what we're going to hold that thing at. Guys, it has been a few minutes now, in fact about 7, maybe 8 minutes. I came in here and I noticed a temperature drop of about 1 degree on this from the 130 degree that I want to keep it at. So I turned on my burner, and that only has to stay on for just a couple of minutes, and it's going to bring this pot right back up in temperature. And that's what you want to do, just kind of keep a close eye on it. If it drops a degree, turn on the burner for a couple of minutes. Okay guys, it has been 30 minutes and I had to turn the burner on just a couple of times. It didn't take much, and it only had to be on for about 2 minutes each time. So not very long. I'm still stirring this. Even though it's in a bag, I just stir it like I would stir anything else. I'm bringing my temperature up to 66 degrees Celsius. Now what that's going to be in Fahrenheit, that is 150.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So look at it this way, 151 degrees Fahrenheit, guys, if you use that scale, or 66 degrees on the Celsius side. All right, simple enough. Now what we're doing here, so you'll know, remember we did that protein break, so we're breaking down some proteins there. Also, we're going to be getting nutrients that are healthy for our yeast. The next step here is when we're actually converting starch to sugar. That's what we're doing at 66 degrees Celsius. That's where our beta amylase is doing its job. It's going crazy at that temperature, and that's its optimal temperature that it does its best work at. And also alpha is doing its bit. It's giving us some body in that beer. So be patient with your enzyme, guys. It's going to do what it's supposed to do, but you just got to be patient. As soon as this comes up to my temperature, I'll turn off my burner and then I will begin another wait. And that one's going to be 40 minutes. So 40 minutes at 66 degrees. Oh boy, I can't wait for this tasty beer. Turning off my flame because I'm at just starting to peak over 150 degrees. And that is dead on perfect, okay? So all I have to do is maintain that for the next 40 minutes. Guys, it has now been 40 minutes at holding that at 150 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with heat again. There we go. We're going to bring the temperature up on this again. Now this time, we're going to bring that temperature up to 70 degrees Celsius. And that's the same as 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? So it comes up 10 degrees higher. Now this next part, what's happening here, we've got a good start converting starch to sugar. And so I'm getting a very, very sweet mixture going on here. But also I want something that's going to provide real full body too. And that means I need to bring this up to activate that alpha amylase. So it goes to chopping down some of the longer chains of starch that's in this grain. And it will provide better body to the beer, better head retention. It'll also make it taste a little bit sweeter. All right, guys, it has been 1 hour. So I'm bringing my temperature up, and I'm going to bring it up to 80 degrees Celsius. Now that is 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Now what that's going to do is it's going to stop the enzymatic action on those grains. At that point, I'm going to lift that bag of grains out of there. Then we're going to do what is referred to as sparging. Now sparging is just a funny word that means we're going to rinse off the grains with some fresh water to push out any additional sugars that might still be stuck to them before we remove them from the process. Alright guys, my pot is now reaching my desired temperature. You can notice it's starting to put out some steam now. Yep, I'm just now beginning to crest that 80 degree mark. Alright, I only have to hold it here for a couple of minutes. See how I slipped my pan rack under it? And I'm going to set my grains right on top. Okay guys, here we go. A little bit of hot water. I'm just going to run that through the grains. And that just helps to rinse out some of that extra sugar. Okay guys, I'm going to give my grains a little bit of time to finish draining off, and once they have stopped for the most part, then I will move them off to the side and we will get on with making our beer. We have now taken these grains and we converted those starches into sugars. We've extracted the sugars by allowing it to soak off into that liquid down below. And now, right down there in that liquid, what I have is a wort, okay? And it's the beginning wort of a beer. Wort is, if you remember, that's that sweet liquor that makes a beer. Okay guys, as my wort is coming up into a boil, my grains are draining off. Let's talk about hops. You can pour your hops directly into the wort and boil it. I don't like to do that because it leaves too much vegetable matter left over that gets into my fermenter. I don't like that because it affects the flavor of the beer. I want to remove that vegetable matter, get it out of the way so that the only thing that was left in that beer are just the oils from this. I use a filter for that. Now you can use a steeping ball. It's a large round ball that's got little wire mesh, and pour your hops into that, and that works okay, but it lets some of that particulate matter out. These bags here, I absolutely hate, and I save these for the sole purpose of teaching people about, please don't use these. Number one, that was bleached, and that's as white as you're going to get it after you've used it. See, the string turned that color. It was cotton. The bag is nylon, and once that hops has its way with it, it's permanently this color. You can purchase hop socks like this. It's a little muslin sock, and it's nice. It is a bit sheer once it gets expanded, and in that case, you know, as you can see on my hand here, once it gets like that, it lets some of that vegetable matter through again, because you can see it's rather large on those holes. Some years back I tried an experiment because I heard about doing this, and people told me this really works. They said, you go out and get some cotton socks, regular athletic socks, and use those. So I did. I got some Hanes, and I tried those. And believe it or not, folks, I've been using the same 2 pair of Hanes socks to brew beer for many, many years. I bought these brand new just for this. And the cool thing is, you can hop with this. Then when you're finished, you turn it inside out, clean all that vegetable matter out, and then wash it, bleach it. You put it back into use again, it's ready to go. It's just that easy. And it filters better. As you can see, once your hops are down in here, that vegetable matter won't come through, but the oils will leach out very, very easily. So this works supremely well, and it's reusable. You buy it one time. Now your hops, just open your sock up like I did, roll it back, grab your dish, and pour hops right down into that. Wasn't that easy? There we go. There's all of our hops for the boil. At this point, I do not need a thermometer, but I do need to get this down into my bucket. Well, here we go. Yep, good old standard whisk. At this point also, you can use a mixing paddle. Okay guys, you're going to want to see down inside of this so you can kind of judge what's going on, get an idea of what you do next. Okay guys, now it's starting to get real foamy, kind of frothy on top, and it fills back in rather quickly. That means it's starting to get up where it's going to be boiling pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and add my hops at this point. Now what I do with this is I put it in there and just kind of shift it back and forth a little bit. Get it wet. Now guys, sometimes you don't have scales to measure things out like this. So if you don't have scales yourself, don't sweat it, don't lose any sleep. It'll still work out. As long as your measurement is close on your finishing hops, then everything's going to work out okay. 14, there we go. Okay, that's one of my hop socks, and then what's left in that package is the other part of my hops, and I'm done. Okay, so at this point, I have reached 50 minutes, and guys, I just shut the heat off. I don't do anything other than that at this point, because it doesn't actually have to boil through this portion of hopping, okay? Okay, now I'll get this down into my pot, and I'm hopping at the end. Guys, this is now up off of the stove. I have it over to the side on a cooling rack, and I'm going to be pitching in the yeast here in just a little bit, so as soon as that cools down to the right temperature. Now right now it is about 128 degrees in there. I've just added about 1.5 gallons of water to it. So at this point I want to go ahead and just let it finish cooling off. We're going to add it to a carboy and then bring it up to 5 gallons. Guys, it has been several weeks now, okay? So we had several weeks of the fermenting going on. I ferment really long on the brown beer, and it really gives a very good quality beer. Also, I give it plenty of time in the bottle in carbonating and a little time to age there, and then cold conditioning. And I just can't begin to express how important it is to really cold condition your bottles. And what this is going to do, it's going to completely change the entire complex of that beer. Okay, the brown beer, the way it is after it's just been chilled versus what it's like after sitting a week to 2 weeks inside of refrigeration, it changes completely, guys, and it becomes a much more beautiful, harmonious, enjoyable beer at that point. And I think you really, on this one, if you show patience, it's going to reward you majestically. So I'll tell you what, I've pulled one out of my refrigerator, and I'll say this is not a beer that's really known for having an eruptive head, but it is just beautiful in its flavor, and its clarity is incredible. So what I've got here, it's one of mine, okay, with our red cap that we used. Oh yeah. Let's see here. Like I said, not an eruptive head on it. However, it has good color. It's a ruddy brown color. The flavor? Guys, that right there is magnificent. You know, I've always believed that it never made sense to me that you go out and purchase a brown beer and that it comes across as bitter and astringent. And I never understood how it is that these companies would get them that way. It didn't make sense to me. And you know, when you make your own and they come out sweet and malty and robust, and you get this beautiful kick from the hops, man, and very carbonated. I mean, it's just fizzy and bubbly. Oh yeah. Guys, you're gonna love this recipe, and I would like to say thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps you out in your journey, in your beer making journey. Also, we're going to be doing a little more advanced beer making, and of course that's what this class leads to. That's good. So guys, thank you again for watching this show. Thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today. If you would, please check out my other shows on here. Please share this one. Click that like button. It helps me out a lot. And if you would, also just have a good day. Bye-bye.